Three Detroit companions, Rocky, Alex, and Money, break into the home of affluent proprietors. After Alex debilitates the security framework, they start to snatch the most pleasant-looking things they can get their hands on. At the point when they're done, they toss a stone through the fortified glass entryway and run. Ruff lives with her younger sibling Diddy, their oppressive mother Ginger, and her beau Trevor. Ruff vows to Diddy that she will get the two of them out of there so they can begin another life in California. Alex lives with his dad, a functioning police officer, who is rarely home and is clearly pulling twofold moves at the nearby police headquarters. Alex utilizes his dad's PC associations with the search for affluent individuals to loot. Cash gets a tip from one of his interfaces about a man residing in a house with more than $300,000 in real money reserved someplace. It's been said that the man is a conflict veteran and that he lives alone after his little girl was killed in a fender bender. Ruff is ready since this could be the last theft they at any point need to pull off. However, Alex disagrees with the arrangement. He later yields when Rocky beseeches him, as he has a keen interest in her, although she's with Money. The three tail the man's house, which is situated in a ghetto area and is the main involved house in the city since each and every other house is censured, and discover that he is visually impaired. Alex believes it's screwed up to burglarize a visually impaired person, yet Money says it doesn't mean he's a holy person assuming he's visually impaired. The man's horrible Rottweiler canine then, at that point, hops on the vehicle entryway and alarms the companions. That evening, the three start the burglary. Alex recognizes a tattoo on Rocky's wrist that is new, which is of a ladybug. She clarifies that as a youngster, her dad left her family and her mom faulted Rocky for it. She would cry and afterward get secured in the storage compartment. Once, a ladybug flew into the storage compartment and stayed with her. She says she'll have it hued in California and afterward never mark her body again. The companions head toward the man's home. Cash sedates the canine to get him to take out, permitting them a protected section into the house. Ruff goes in first through a little washroom window and cripples the security framework. While her companions hang tight for her, Money insults Alex for his crush on Rocky. She returns and opens the secondary passage. Cash goes higher up and finds the visually impaired man laying down with the TV on. The blind man rises and hears a commotion. He simply switches the TV off and returns to rest. Cash gasses the space to guarantee that the man will not hear anything. The three track down a locked entryway that prompts the cellar. They think this is the place where they'll observe the man's reserve. Cash begins to separate the entryway, driving the blind man to go the first floor. Cash begins talking and says he doesn't need inconvenience until he chooses to threaten to use a weapon out on the man. The blind man moves forward as Money holds the weapon in his face. As he gradually draws nearer, the man gets the firearm from Money's hand and pins him against the divider. The blind man requests Money the number of from them there are in the house. Cash says it's simply him and he argues for the man to release him. The blind man releases his grasp, however at that point shoots Money in the neck and through the head. He drops Money's body to the floor, and Rocky stows away in the storage room. The man enters and opens a safe containing his cash. Ruff sees the code, 2978, as he leaves. Alex goes to observe Rocky after the blind man fires, securing every one of the entryways and windows. They conclude that they simply need to sneak in through the storm cellar and out the basement entryway that leads outside. To start with, Rocky opens the safe and places all the cash in her pack. They head toward the storm cellar, yet the man rises out of there. The two stay silent as he holds Money's weapon. Somebody's telephone goes off, and he shoots a speedy shot. Ruff and Alex then, at that point, head down the stairs as the man hauls Money's body outside. In the storm cellar, Rocky is frightened by a lady who's been tied up to the divider. Ruff and Alex are gone crazy and nearly leave her until the lady holds up a paper article. It uncovers that she is Cindy and that she's the one who unintentionally killed the blind man's little girl, yet she was vindicated. Ruff and Alex free her and convey her toward the basement entryway. Tragically, the blind man is there when they open it. He discharges the weapon and strikes Cindy in the face, killing her. Ruff and Alex stow away and the man discovers he shot Cindy. He cries over her body and hollers in rage. Alex gets the man's keys and chooses to attempt to make it back to the front entryway. As he and Rocky head back higher up, the blind man switches out the lights in the storm cellar, leaving them all in the absolute dimness. Ruff and Alex look about for one another as the man fires the weapon. Ruff nearly contact the blind man until Alex calls out to her. The blind man gets Alex and attempts to fire, however his firearm is vacant. Alex pushes a rack down on him, catching him. He and Rocky run higher up. Alex holds the entryway shut with a crowbar. He and Rocky attempt to open the entryway, just to observe the canine has woken up and is prepared to assault them. They run from the canine and trap it in a room. Sadly, The blind man has escaped the storm cellar and he assaults Alex. He hits him on different occasions right upside the head and seems to pierce him with garden shears. He then, at that point, tracks down Rocky and takes her out as well. Ruff awakens in the storm cellar, fastened in a similar spot as Cindy. She lets the blind man know that this will not bring his girl back. He says that is not completely evident. He impregnated Cindy to give him a youngster to compensate for the one she killed, and he would have released her once she conceived an offspring. With Cindy dead, his unborn youngster has kicked the bucket too, and he considers Rocky responsible. He cuts open an opening in Rocky's jeans and gets a baster loaded up with his semen test. He plans to impregnate Rocky, yet fortunately, Alex has gotten up and snatched a mallet. He whacks the blind man over the head and liberates Rocky. They cuff the man to a shaft. She begins kicking the man and afterwards stuffs the baster down his throat. They let him be and choose not to include the police since the man could without much of a stretch let the police know that Rocky and Alex broke in. The two head back higher up to leave. They figure out how to open the front entryway, however, the blind man has gotten up and he shoots Alex dead. Ruff makes a run for it, similarly as the man lets the canine out. Ruff runs back to Money's vehicle and attempts to make it in before the canine gets her, yet she dropped her pack outside the vehicle. Ruff opens the storage compartment to attempt to trap the canine in there so she can get out. Her arrangement works, and she goes outside to get the cash, however, the blind man comes out and takes Rocky out once more. The blind man hauls Rocky back to his home to complete his work. A ladybug flies onto Rocky's hand, giving her an increase in certainty and trust. Ruff gets the control to set off the security framework, making the caution occupy the man. She gets the crowbar and whacks the blind man over the head on different occasions until he falls into the cellar and has his firearm go off, firing him in the side. Ruff takes the cash and goes out before the police appear. Ruff is present with Diddy at the Detroit Air Terminal, prepared to begin their new lives. Ruff then, at that point, sees a news report on TV, expressing that the blind man was observed alive and that the main two criminals were accounted for as breaking into his home, and that he killed the two of them. Ruff becomes anxious and afterward takes Diddy with her, never to think back again. To watch more video like this, click on the videos on your screen, and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last I will say stay safe and stay healthy. See you next videos.